Okay, I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible and just wanted to do it on a little bit of a different platform. So far we've talked about the structure of a neuron, the electrical impulse within a neuron called an action potential, and the communication between neurons through the use of neurotransmitters. Um, The reason that I want to do the nervous system before going over neurotransmitters is to make sure that we get through everything before the quiz next class. So everybody should have gotten a handout of that looks similar to this chart right here. Okay, I will just tell you that this chart right here, being able to label it, will be part of the quiz. The quiz is going to be labeling the parts of a neuron, showing the direction of an action potential, and labeling this chart. So take a sec right now to pause this and fill in this chart. All right, so the nervous system. The nervous system is the full system of nerves that make up our brain, our spinal cord, and then all of the nerves that come off of it. Right? It consists of what is called the peripheral nervous system, which is on the outside, and then the central nervous system, which is the brain and the spinal cord. I'm going to start with the central nervous system. Central nervous system, exactly what it sounds like. Okay, it is the system of nerves that is in the center of our body. It consists of only the brain and the spinal cord. It receives messages from the body, from the arms, from the legs, from the stomach, sends those messages up to the brain, and then sends messages out to the extremities, to the limbs, out to the endocrine system, and whatnot. So we could say that the central nervous system is the decision maker of the nervous system. The brain is obviously the thing that is in charge of everything else. So the brain and the spinal cord send messages out, and they receive messages from all of the nerves that come off of the spinal cord. So it is abbreviated CNS, central nervous system. And if you look at, I have the nervous system guy on my wall, the red part of that is the central nervous system. All right, so, okay. So the part that we'll spend the most time on is the peripheral nervous system. These are all of the nerves that extend off of the spinal cord. All right, periphery means outside. Okay, if we talk about our peripheral vision is our vision on the edges of our eyes. Okay, the peripheral nervous system is all of the nerves that are outside of the central nervous system. It extends out down our arms, down our legs, to and in our torso, to our face, and whatnot. And the peripheral nervous system is divided into two categories. And if we go back to the chart, you can see, okay, here's the peripheral nervous system right here. And then it consists of the autonomic nervous system and the somatic nervous system. So if we look at this right here, it is all this. So there's the spinal cord, there's the brain, is everything that comes off. If you look at my nervous system guy on the wall, It is everything that is in green. The somatic nervous system, we talked about the word soma. Soma means body. The somatic nervous system is the part of the peripheral nervous system that controls voluntary movement. So any sort of muscle movement that you choose to do, okay, whether it is throwing a ball, riding a bike, writing with a pen, all right, all of that is controlled by the somatic nervous system. It's the system of nerves that are connected to our muscles. So if we see a, if there's a bee that is flying around our head, okay, our brain sends a signal out. The central nervous system sends a signal out to the arms to swat it away. Okay, if we cut something that is hot and we don't realize that it's hot until we start to feel it burn, okay, that sends that signal back up to the brain, and and the brain tells us to pull our hand away from it. It consists of sensory and motor neurons, which we have already talked about. So it is the system, the peripheral nervous system, that is in control of our body. The autonomic nervous system are the nerves that extend off of the spine that control automatic functions in the body. Easy way to remember this is the autonomic is automatic. These functions include, these are things that we have some conscious control over them if we want to. We can speed up our heart rate if we want to by exercising and whatnot. But these are the things that happen just pretty much automatically throughout the day, right? Controlling our heartbeat, controlling our body temperature, controlling bowel movements, things like that. Okay, so things that we do not usually have any conscious awareness or conscious control over. Now, this right here is probably what I would say the most challenging part of this. The somatic nervous system is just the somatic nervous system. It's not split into any other subgroups. The autonomic nervous system is, though. The autonomic nervous system is divided into two categories. It's called the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. If we go back to the original slide, and you can look at that on yours, here's the somatic, autonomic, and then the autonomic consists of the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic. The sympathetic nervous system is what is referred to as our fight or flight, and actually the updated version of this is fight, flight, or freeze. This is the part of our autonomic nervous system that is activated when we need to expend energy. We can refer to this as our emergency system. It is the part of our nervous system that kicks in when we are anxious. It's the part of our nervous system that would kick in if we're out in the woods and being chased by a bear. It's the part of our nervous system that would kick in if, somebody comes after us trying to fight us. Okay? It is it it is what activates us. Okay? And we're going to expend more energy. The sympathetic nervous system expends more energy than normal. Why we can't have it going all the time. So some of the things that when the sympathetic nervous system kicks in, right, some of the things are going to happen. All right, it's obviously going to accelerate your heart rate, okay, accelerate your breathing. Your pupils are going to dilate. What that means is if anybody's ever had their pupils dilated at a eye exam, that means is your pupils, which are the black part of your eye, get larger. The reason for this is it allows more light and it makes our vision better. It slows down digestion. Now you might think that's counterintuitive, like if you get scared, you might pee yourself, but the reason that it slows down digestion is because we don't want to waste energy on digesting things if we're in a fight or flight, life or death situation. Those of you that play sports probably will know this. You might have to go to the bathroom an hour before the game, maybe even 15, 20 minutes before the game. But when you're playing, we usually don't have to go to the bathroom, okay? Because our body realizes, all right, we got to use this energy somewhere else. But then usually probably an hour or so after the game, you're going to have to go to the bathroom again. Way to remember this is, and I know sympathetic sounds like it would be calming, but I don't know if my mnemonics always work, but sympathetic, S, you're scared or startled. My time is okay. All right, we're almost done. So sympathetic, scared or startled. It's basically just the most basic functions that we can have because we just want to be able to conserve as much energy as possible to make sure that we survive. The parasympathetic nervous system is what is referred to as rest and digest. And it is basically what they would say our default condition, right? This is where we are at most of the time. Okay, if we are not in a stressful situation, if you're just hanging out, okay, that is the parasympathetic nervous system that is active. Parasympathetic nervous system is relaxation. Okay, and this is what kicks in if you've been stressed if you've been playing a game, whatever. Right, eventually this is what's going to kick in to like cool you down. Your heart rate slows down. Your pupils constrict. Digestion speeds up again. Why, like I said, hour or so after you play a game, you probably have to go to the bathroom. So, as I said, this is the default condition that is just kind of when we are normal, when we are resting and digesting. A way you might be able to remember this, I don't know if this will work or not, but if you think about if you're about to jump out of a plane, your sympathetic nervous system is going to be activated. You're going to be nervous. Okay, but you jump out, and then as soon as your parachute comes out, you get to breathe a sigh of relief. You realize that you're not going to fall to the ground to your death, and your heart rate slows down. You realize that you're safe. So parasympathetic is like a parachute. And last thing. So as you said, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system work together to maintain homeostasis. All right, the sympathetic nervous system is always active a little bit because it is what keeps us alert. All right, but if it's active too much, that's going to probably cause anxiety. So the two of these work together to balance out energy use and then make sure that we conserve energy. As we know, homeostasis is internal balance. Okay? All right. I have a couple diagrams on here. We haven't talked about these neurotransmitters yet, but we will. Here's another one that has the different bodily reactions that each one of these will have. So I hope that was concise, 15 minutes. Okay, there you go.